Prepare to strike. Now. Are you ready? Go! Alright, that's cool. Alright, that's cool. Welcome to your death. Channel 登録よろしくお願いします。
やっ